I welcome you to day 21. Now, the topic for today is articles. Okay. What is an article? We're going to learn the definition, we're going to learn how to identify them, and where you could use it in your day to day life. Okay, let's get started. The definition for an article is a word that is used before a noun. In the English language, articles means words that are used before a noun. Okay, so there are only three articles, okay, which is a, an, and the. You could use any one article only before a noun. Okay, now let us take a look at this picture. This is Joe and this is Karen. Now, Joe is telling Karen in the first sentence, I had a sandwich and an apple for lunch. So take a look at the way I pronounced a sandwich. The alphabet A, okay, the alphabet A is pronounced as when you're speaking, and it's more stylish when you say rather than saying a. You can still choose to say a, it's not wrong, but if you say I would strongly suggest that because it sounds more stylish. Okay, now take a look at what Joe's saying. Joe says a sandwich and an apple because it is the first time he's talking about it and he's not being very specific. He's just talking about some common sandwich and apple. Okay, but take a look at the second sentence. He says the sandwich wasn't very good, but the apple was nice. Now in the second sentence, a becomes the and becomes the apple. Okay, so a sandwich becomes the sandwich. Take a look here. Joe now says the sandwich, the apple, because Karen now knows which specific sandwich or apple he had for lunch. Did you get that? If you didn't, don't worry. We're going to learn about articles in depth. Before we do that, I need you to understand and know what is a vowel and what is a consonant. Okay. Now, there are 26 alphabets in the English language. 5 of them out of the 26 alphabets, 5 are vowels and 21, and the other 21 alphabets are called consonants. Why is it called a vowel or a consonant? They are used, vowels and consonants, they're used to articulate a word in a certain way. So vowels and consonants help in pronouncing a word properly. Okay, so there are 5 vowels I told you, which is A, E, I, O, and U. So there are 5 vowels. And everything other than the vowels, they're all called what? Consonants. Very good. There are 21 consonants. So as I told you earlier, they help in articulating or pronouncing a word in a specific way. Now you know how many vowels are there, what are vowels, how many consonants are there. Let's go back to the topic of today, which is articles. So the first article I'm going to teach you is the. Okay, the is an article and it is used in front of a specific noun. When you want to talk about something very specific, something that's very unique, then you use the. It is totally up to you where you want to use it, why you want to use it. It's totally up to you, but you use it for specific nouns. Okay, for example, if you want to say the sun or you want to say the earth, now these two, sun and earth, are very specific. They're unique. You don't have another sun, you don't have another earth. Okay, so that is the reason why we say the sun, the earth. We can also use the for other nouns. Take a look at this. The bag from London. I'm not talking about any bag. There are so many bags in the world. However, I'm talking about one specific bag that came from London. So I'm saying the bag from London. I'm being very specific about a bag that came from London. So that is why I've used the bag. I'm not talking about generally bags. Okay. So you need to know why we're using the for a bag, and this is denotes specificity. Okay. Let's move on to the other one. Okay. A is the alphabet, and when you're talking in sentences in English, it's better to say a. Now A is used in front of a common noun. Again, what are common nouns? Anything other than specific is common. It could be a bag, a book, a flower, a girl, a pen, anything that's common is you can use a and an. Okay, so a is used in front of a common noun and it is used before the noun. It should start with a consonant. So take a look at this. Common nouns that start with a consonant. So, for example, bag is the noun. It's a common noun, okay? And bag, the first alphabet is a consonant. It's not a vowel, right? So it's not A, E, I, L, U. It's not a vowel. So it's a consonant. And because it's a consonant, the article before bag becomes a bag. Okay, so you say a bag. Okay, did you get that? I pronounced it for you both the ways so that you will know which one you want to say. Okay, it's totally up to you, but I would recommend a. Now there are lots and lots of bags, millions and millions, but and that is why I'm saying a bag because I'm not being very specific about what it is. So now you know where you can use a. A you can use in front of a common noun that starts with a consonant. For example, another example, a flower. Okay, a flower. So it is a common noun, and that is the why a reason why we use a in front of the noun flower. Flower, F starts with a consonant, and that is the reason why we put a there. Okay. Now let's go on to the third article, which is an. An again is used in front of a common noun, but the noun should start with a vowel. Okay, for example, ice cream is a noun, and notice the first alphabet of ice cream, it starts with I, and I is a vowel. Very good. And that is the reason why the article before the noun ice cream starts with an. So you say an ice cream, an ink pen, an elephant, an apple. Understood? So now you know where you can use a and the. Okay, three articles you've learned. Now, apart from what you have learned, okay, every other common noun we use a. So you know where to use vowels, you know how to identify your vowels that have, your nouns that have that start with a vowel and what articles you can put before them. Now everything else you use a right? A. Now there are exceptions to the rules I told you. In every language, there's an exception, and so does English also. So there are exceptions. For example, take a look at this. According to what I said, unicorn, okay, starts with U, okay, but they're putting a unicorn. Now, isn't you starting with a vowel? Here, I'll tell you, a user. Again, you start is a vowel, and still they're using a. Why are they saying a unicorn, a user? Why? Because unicorn, user, all these starts with the vowel U, but the pronunciation starts more or less like you. Okay, why? It doesn't start with you. The pronunciation, the letter which is stressed is like Y, you. Okay, and because the U sounds more of a consonant sound, and that is the reason why we use a in front of unicorn, user. Okay, there are certain words that have these exceptions. Not all words, just a few. I've just picked out two here and mentioned. You will learn it in due course of time. Okay. If you have any questions, please feel free to send us a message and we will comment below. Now, another exception that we want you to know is a hotel. Now, there is a huge debate because if you search on Google, you will see a hotel, okay? Although H is not a vowel, you will see people saying an hotel. Both are grammatically correct. And because this is an exception, I have put it here so that you will know. So if you say a hotel or an hotel, it is grammatically correct. Depends on who are saying it, like British or Americans. Now again, both are widely used. A hotel is widely used, has a lot of usage on Google, and an hotel also exists there. So I just wanted you to know this exception too. Now take a look at the word an honest man. This particular word is also an exception. Why? I'll tell you that in a minute. Now take a look at this. An honest man. H is not a vowel in the English language. However, the word honest is the H is not pronounced. Okay, it's silent. The H is silent, and the letter, the whole word starts with like O. Okay, you say an honest man, like as if you're pronouncing just the O. Okay, because the pronunciation starts with O, and it is written although with H, but the pronunciation starts with O. It gives the O sound. Okay, and that is the reason why "an" is used in front of honest. Okay, so it's more of like how you pronounce it more than how you write it. So the way they write it and the way they speak it is different. That is why I'm putting it under the exception column. Okay, so you need to know there are a couple of other exceptions, but for now, just learn this. If you are a new, user to the English language, just learn this one. As you go by, you will learn in due course of time. Okay, so let's move on, and now you know what is a, what is and, why there are exceptions, and how you can identify a few. Now, let's compare a, the, okay, in these examples. A man and a woman were sitting opposite to me. Okay, so a man and a woman were sitting opposite to me. So someone is just randomly talking about some person, and because they are a common man and a common woman, we're not giving any specific names to them, and that is the reason why we're using a and here. Now take a look at the man was American. Okay, now he's being very specific. He's giving, he's saying, I'm sure the man was an American, and the woman was British. And because he's being very specific in explaining, what is the nationality of those two people. They're saying the man because they're being very specific, and the woman. Okay, so in the beginning, because it was general, they use a and. The second sentence, because they're using nationalities and making it more specific, they're using the. It's totally up to you whether you want to use the to make it look specific, or you want to use a or an to make it look common. Okay, so it's totally up to you. But in this instance, I'm telling you why they've used it and where they've used it. Okay, now when we were on a holiday, we stayed at a hotel, some random hotel, no name. That's why they're saying a hotel. Sometimes we ate at the hotel. Now they're staying at the hotel, and it's become a very specific place. They're not just staying somewhere, they're staying in one specific hotel. And that is why in the first sentence they use a common article, whereas the second sentence they've started they're being very specific about the hotel. And then we went to a restaurant. Again, restaurant, a common place. So they're using a back again. So now you know how they're dilating, what importance you give, whether it's a common noun or not. It's totally up to your discretion, and then you could use a, an, or the, one of the articles. Okay, let's take a look at a few examples. We use the when we're thinking about specific things. I told that earlier. Compare a, an, and the. So let's take a look at a few examples. Tim sat on a chair. He just sat on a random chair, a common one. Perhaps there were many chairs in the room, and that's just one amongst all the other chairs that Tim had sat on. So that's why we're using a here. But Tim sat down on the chair nearest, nearest to the door. Now I'm being very specific to one particular chair. Where was the door? Chair, it was near the door. And because it was closest to the door, I'm saying the chair. So now do you understand why I'm using the? Because I'm being very specific about that particular chair. Take a look at the next example. Paula is looking for a job. Any job. Okay, whatever comes her way, she's ready to work. But did Paula get the job she applied for? She had applied for a job. Now, the question is, did she get that particular job that she had specifically applied for? And since they're talking about a specific job, they use the article the. So the first one, they just use a because she's like randomly looking for any and every job. Okay, common noun. The next one, you have a car. Very common. It's not specific. But when I say I cleaned the car yesterday, which means I possess one car, and I'm talking about very specifically about that particular car. Since I'm being very specific, I use the. Okay. We use the when it is clear in the situation which things and persons we mean. For example, in a room, we talk about the light, the floor, the ceiling, the door, the carpet, etc. Right? Now, can you turn off the light, please? So we're being very specific about the light in that particular room, and that is why we're saying the light, please. I took a taxi to the station. Taxi, there are hundreds of taxis. But then stations, like there'll be very specific stations, very few stations which you can name, which is in your city or town. And that is the reason why we're saying the for station and taxi. So many, we can't even count them now. There are so many taxis available in the city and town. Now, I'd like to speak to the manager, please. So in a particular shop, there's only one manager usually, and so he's saying he wants to speak to the manager, where he's being very specific to speak to that particular person in that shop, because every shop will have just one manager. Now in the same way, it goes to the bank, the post office, which is very, very specific nouns. If I have to say I have to go to the bank, then it's the bank. Why? Because I don't have accounts in so many banks, but I have my account in just one or two or specific banks, and that is the reason why we use the. Then I go to the post office. Now again, we don't have hundreds of post office. Every locality, I'm sure, like your neighborhood, would have only one post office in that particular area, locality, city, or town. So, according to the locality, if there is only one post office, then it's like the, because it's being very specific to the bank or post office. Now, we can also say, we go to the doctor or the dentist. Why? We don't visit any and every doctor, do we? We have our own family doctors or very specific people who we go and get treated from. So that is the reason why we're saying the doctor, the dentist, being very, very specific. Claire isn't very well. She's gone to the doctor. She's not just gone to some random guy to get treated, but she's going to her usual doctor who she's been going for several years. And that is the reason why we're using the doctor here. Now, when you need to compare the and okay, I have to go to the bank today. Bank, very specific. But then if I say I broke the umbrella, very specifically, I've broken like one particular umbrella. Now, if I want to ask, inquire, is there a bank near here, like nearby? Okay, instead of saying near here, it's better to say like nearby. Is there a bank? I'm just inquiring on the road. Is there a bank nearby? Then I'm just asking for some random bank. I'm not being very specific which bank, but I'm just saying in general. And if I want to say, is there a good restaurant? Any restaurant, but as long as it's good, then I'm saying I'm using the articles a. Now, I don't like to go to the dentist because it kind of really, I don't like that, getting that numb feeling on my teeth when he cleans the teeth, and it's like very odd, right? I don't know how many of you like it. I don't like it either. So I don't like going to the wet market either. Now, wet market is a place where they sell meat, fish, poultry, a lot of animal stuff is sold there. Wet things are sold there, and that is why it's called the wet market. Mostly it's veg, non-veg. Okay, so like mutton, beef, pork, you can find anything and everything. Even rare species are also sold in the wet market. Okay, so I don't like to go to that place either. It makes me throw up. Okay, I don't like it. So my dad is an engineer. Now I'm being very specific about a profession, but I'm just saying an engineer because there are like so many engineers. And my mom is a homemaker. I can still choose to say, if you want to be very specific, then you could be my guest. Okay, then you could say, you have so many other things like saying the mechanical engineering is a great subject or is a great topic or is a great stream. Then I'm being very specific to in engineering. I'm being very specific to mechanical engineering. Okay, I'm not just saying any and every engineering. Okay, so let's take a look at the next exercise. We say once a week, 3 times a day, a kilo. Okay, 1.1 pound and 50 cents is a kilo. Okay, this is like pound, this particular symbol. We use rupees in India. Pound is used in London, okay, in England, and 1 pound and 50 cents is a kilo. Now, it's pretty much expensive, trust me. rupees is much cheaper. So if you want to say, how often do you go to the cinema? The cinema, I'm being very specific. And the person who's responding is saying, but once a month. And how much are those potatoes? Okay, then you're saying like, £1.50 a kilo. So that's like quite cheap there. But when you try to convert it to Indian money, it's like a lot. Helen works 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, because I'm being very, very general. It's a common working hour. Okay. So we are giving you different scenarios, different situations, different sentences, so that you will know and you will be able to use these, as and when it's required. Now we're going to go on to the bonus sentences. These are for your practice. I'm going to just read out two. We have given you the answers to, but I want you to go home and practice. Listen to the video again and again. Write it down. Memorize all these sentences so that you can use correct sentences. Next time you want to say something, you will use the correct sentence because you've already memorized it. Okay? Take a look at the first example. You need to put a and or the, any one of the article. You have to put a and the. Now, this morning I bought a newspaper. Why? It's being general. And newspaper, the first word letter is the first alphabet is a consonant, and so it's a newspaper. And a magazine, again, magazine, first alphabet is a consonant, so a magazine. And then now that I possess the newspaper, I'm owning it, so I'm being very specific. Okay, I'm saying the newspaper is in my bag. It's not in it's just not just thrown around. It's in my bag. So I'm being very specific. And I can't remember where I put the magazine. Now I'm going back to, excuse me. Now I'm going back to the newspaper, the magazine. I'm being very specific because I'm handling them. Let's take a look at the second example. I saw an accident. So take a look at this noun, the common noun here, and it starts with a vowel, and that is why there is an in front of the noun. So an accident, okay. And this morning I saw an accident this morning. A car, noun, common noun, starts with a consonant. So you put a car crashed into a tree. Okay. The driver. I'm not talking about any and every driver. I'm being very specific about the person who who met with an accident and that particular driver. So I'm saying the driver because I want to be very specific. The driver of the car wasn't hurt, luckily, but the car was badly damaged. That's okay. We can always claim for insurance, right? So now that I'm being very specific about the car, the driver, the thing that was the car that was badly damaged, I'm being specific, and hence I've used the article the. Okay, now all these sentences are there for you to work out. Please memorize them, practice them at home, read them, listen to them. Okay, let's take a look at another example. I'm going to read out the first one for you. Okay, here you need to put a and the. Okay, again, the house is this house is very nice. I'm talking about a specific house. It has got a garden. Okay, so very generally I'm saying this house. I'm not being specific here. My bad. I'm sorry. It says this house. And then I'm saying it's got a garden, but I'm not specifying something, but I'm saying it's a beautiful day and let's sit in the garden. So first time when I'm talking about the garden, I'm not being specific. Okay, it's a common noun. But the second time I'm saying let's not go and sit anywhere and everywhere. Let's sit in that particular garden. So because I'm being specific, I'm saying the. Okay, I like living in this house, but it's a shame that the garden is too small. Well, in India, many of us don't even have gardens, so that's a poor plight. Okay, but then this particular person is like complaining, and they're choosing to use, the specific article, the garden, and they're also complaining, saying it's very small. Now, we have a couple of recommendations here for you. We want you to go through these sentences. We have underlined the articles for you so that you will know the answers. However, write them down, memorize them as much as possible. Pause the video, learn it, learn to pronounce the words, learn to identify the nouns, learn to identify the consonants, learn to identify the vowels so that you will be able to use these sentences because every sentence is unique. every sentence is different. We're trying to use different vocabulary. We're trying to teach you the pronunciation. We're trying to teach you the correct sentence structure. So you don't have to take time to, create your own. But if you memorize these, you will be able to use them as and when it's necessary, right? So let's move on to another exercise. Put a and the where it's necessary. Okay, I'm going to do the first two for you, and the others are for you to practice at home. Would you like a pen? Pen again is a common noun. It starts with a consonant, and so is used here. How often do you go to the dentist? So dentist, very specific doctor, and I'm so using the, which is to show that I'm being very specific. Okay. All the other answers are for you to practice at home. Please go through these sentences, write them down, pause the video, practice them, memorize them, so that you will be able to use correct sentences. Okay, so let's move on to another exercise. I'm going to do the first two for you. Answer these questions about yourself. When you want to say once a week, or when you want to say 3 times a day, whatever you want to say, just go ahead and use it. Okay, I've given you a few examples here. How often do you go to the cinema? So you can say 3 or 4 times a year. Okay, the second one is, so in a year, I'm being very, very I'm not being specific. I'm just saying a common thing. Okay, so I'm just saying like it's not important. That is the reason why I'm using a here. Okay, how often do you go to the cinema? And here I'm just saying a month, once a month. Okay, only once a month. And so because I do not want to make it very specific, I'm using here. Now we've also made other sentences for you to practice at home. Okay, notice Anna again. So H again, H-O-U-R is pronounced as R. Okay, as in like O-U-R. But when you write it about the time, R means 1 hour, means one, like time. And H is silent when you pronounce it. But when you write it, you have to say H-O-U-R. When you pronounce it with the O. And because of that stress syllable, or, okay, it becomes Anna. 50 kilometers, Anna. Okay, so make a note of that. Also, these questions are there together with the answers. We've given you the answers too, so that you can practice them at home, during your free time. So this is the last sentence of the day. Please pause, learn, memorize. And today we've come to the end of the session, which is the task of the day 21. And the topic for today is gratitude. Now we want you to go ahead and search what is gratitude. Let me know. I do not want to know the Google definition of gratitude because I do know what gratitude is, but we want you to use your words, your style in pronouncing and tell us what gratitude is. Do not read from paper, do not write on a script, but we want you to use your own words and your own pronunciation. So, define what gratitude is. Tell us why is it necessary? Is it even necessary? Do you believe in practicing it? Talk about its merits, means the good reasons as to why you need to have it, and demerits is like disadvantages. Merits are advantages, another synonym. Okay, so excuse me, talk about the merits, talk about the demerits, and then also let us know if you have heard of a gratitude journal. If you have, please comment below. What is it used for, and is it even necessary to write one? So these are pointers just to help you know, to talk more about gratitude, just in case you are not aware of what gratitude is. Feel free to Google, get the information, but use your own words. Okay, shoot us the video, post it on Facebook, a maximum of 5 minutes. Why? We've come to the third phase of your course, so we just have 10 more days to go starting from today. So now you've learned a lot of grammar, a lot of vocabulary, a lot of sentence structures. We've taught you pronunciation from day one. We've given you the adequate support, feedback you need. So you have to start making 5 minutes video. Are you ready to take up that challenge? Can you make a 5-minute video without reading from a script, without seeing and reading, but just speak from your heart using your own choice of words, understand the topic and talk? Okay, I'll see you all in another video. Thank you so much for watching. and you have yourself a wonderful day. Bye for now.